Something big is brewing behind the scenes at Ibrox. And from everything that's leaking out of the club, it looks like Rangers are closing in on a major defensive deal. Negotiations have been happening quietly away from the spotlight, but now we're hearing the move is practically done, just waiting on the medical, which at this stage is a formality. This isn't just another transfer. It's another vital step in the rebuild that Russell Martin is driving hard since taking charge. He's not just signing players. He's building an entirely new backbone for a team that needs to be ready to compete, not only in the Scottish Premiership, but also in the brutal demands of European competition. While a lot of attention this summer has been on arrivals, this latest twist highlights that Martin's revolution is touching every corner of the squad. Players coming and players heading out, but most importantly, a serious cultural shift happening at the core of the club. Now let's talk about the name on everybody's lips, Coady. His name has absolutely dominated the Rangers' summer transfer talk, and it's easy to see why. He's not just another center back. He's a player with real pedigree, Premier League experience, England caps, and a track record of leadership. That's exactly what Russell Martin is looking for right now. Someone who brings more than just boots on the pitch. Coady has been heavily linked with a move to Ibrox, as Martin seeks to add that final layer of maturity and composure to his defense that has already undergone a massive overhaul. From what we understand, Rangers made their interest clear to Leicester City weeks ago, and since then talks have been ongoing behind the scenes. Nothing has been signed yet, but all signs point to progress. And word is Coady is paying very close attention to what's happening in Glasgow. If this deal goes through, Coady would become the 7th signing of the Russell Martin era, joining an already long list of new faces brought in this summer. We're talking about players like Tel Ogard, Emmanuel Fernandez, J.D. Gassama, Max Aarons, Joe Rothwell, just to name a few. It's been a window that signals intent, ambition, and serious planning. And while most of those names bring energy and youth, Coady would bring something else entirely: authority, structure, and that calming influence at the back. At 32 years of age, he's got nearly 100 Premier League appearances under his belt, and as captain multiple sides, he's been through the battles. That's exactly the type of character Martin needs if he wants to guide a younger backline through the kind of pressure that comes with fighting for trophies and trying to make an impact in Europe. And just in case there was any doubt about Coady's interest, Rangers fans were quick to spot a little social media clue earlier this week, after Rangers kicked off their new campaign with a commanding 2-0 victory over Panathinaikos. In the first leg of their Champions League qualifier, goalkeeper Jack Butland posted a celebratory message online. The caption, "It's good to be back home." And guess who liked the post? Conor Coady himself, alongside Vaclav Zirny, who of course had a successful loan spell at Ibrox last season. It was a small gesture, sure, but for Rangers supporters it spoke volumes. The eyes are watching. The move is definitely on the radar. Speaking of that Panathinaikos game, let's talk about how important that win was. It wasn't just a strong result, it was a statement. Finlay Curtis opened the scoring, and one of the new boys, Gassama, sealed the night with a debut goal. That couldn't have come at a better time. But let's not forget the man between the sticks. Jack Butland pulled off a stunning save just 8 minutes, and that completely changed the direction of the game. It was a goal that looked certain until Butland threw himself across goal and clawed it out. Panathinaikos were inches away from taking the lead, and the rebound was blasted wide by Pistri. That moment kept Rangers in control and set the tone for what turned into a dominant performance. It was a brilliant reminder of what Butland can bring when he's on form, especially considering some of the criticism he took at the tail end of last season. Now let's turn our attention to Robin Pröpper. His return to familiar ground is nearly done and dusted. The Dutch centre-back is about to finalize a move back to Twente, and everything should be wrapped up this weekend. A medical is scheduled, and the fee is set at around £1.5 million. It brings a short and frustrating spell at Ibrox to an end. Pröpper was left out of the squad for that win over Panathinaikos, and it felt like a pretty clear signal that his time was almost up. Negotiations took some time. There was a contract dispute with the player, reportedly hesitant to take a wage cut. But Twente came in strong with a 4-year deal that ultimately sealed the agreement. This is a bit of a homecoming for Pröpper. He captained Twente previously and made over 100 appearances for the club between 2021 and 2024. But in Glasgow things just never quite clicked. Despite that memorable goal in the Old Firm win over Celtic back in January, he struggled to nail down a consistent place in the starting 11, making just 20 league appearances. With Russell Martin reshaping the entire defensive unit, it became pretty obvious that Pröpper wasn't in the long-term plans. For the player, it's a second chance in familiar territory. For Rangers, it's one more space freed up and another step in the ongoing rebuild, and it doesn't stop there. The search for wide reinforcements is still a priority, and the latest developments suggest it's not going to be an easy ride. Rangers have reportedly had a loan bid rejected for Crystal Palace winger Jesurun Raksaki. The deal included an obligation to buy and could have been worth up to £10 million, which would have made him one of the most expensive signings in the club's history. Only Tor Andre Flo's fee back in 2000 tops that, but Palace turned it down. They don't want to lose Raksaki under those terms, especially with him still under contract until 2028. The young winger has already represented England at under-21 level and also qualifies to play for Ghana. He spent last season on loan at Sheffield United, but since returning to Palace he's struggled to break into Oliver Glasner's plans. That said, Palace seem in no rush to let him go permanently, which complicates things for Rangers. But the interest is very real and it's not new. Word is Russell Martin has admired Raksaki for some time and even tried to bring him to Southampton in the past. With Rangers still light on the right-hand side, the coaching staff are clearly keeping their eyes open. On the pitch, JD Gassama has already added some flair on the left side as we saw in the Panathinaikos match, but on the right, it's a different story. Kieran Dawell, a natural central midfielder, had to fill in there, which says a lot about the lack of depth in that position. There's hope coming from the youth ranks. Finley Curtis, for example, impressed in preseason, and Colombian talent Scar Cortez is back from injury. But the demands of a full Premiership campaign plus European football mean Martin needs more than just potential. He needs quality, and he needs it now. Last season standout on the right Vaclav Zirny has returned to Wolfsburg after his loan expired, and a permanent return is looking more unlikely with each passing day. In the meantime, new sporting director Kevin Thelwell has been hard at work reshaping the squad, with multiple recruits from England. Max Aarons and Joe Rothwell arrived from Bournemouth, Naraja came in from Wolves, Fernandez from Peterborough, and the versatile Osgaard from Luton, not to mention Gassama from Sheffield Wednesday. It's been a busy window, and it's clear the recruitment strategy has been focused, targeted, and built around Martin's footballing philosophy. And beyond the wings, the striker situation is also being watched closely. Danilo, Cyril Dessers, and Hamza Igamain all featured in the win against Panathinaikos. But questions still hang over a few of those names, particularly when it comes to consistency and fitness. Martin wants options. He wants competition in every area of the pitch, and it's obvious that Rangers are nowhere near finished in the market. And while all eyes are on incoming talent, let's not forget how vital it is to manage the exits properly too, and that's something Rangers seem to be handling with increasing efficiency. Every departure clears space on the wage bill and sends a clear message: no room for passengers in Russell Martin's new era. This isn't just about signing players for the sake of headlines. It's about building a balanced, hungry squad, one that reflects the intensity and discipline Martin wants to see every single time his team steps on the pitch. Behind the scenes, there's a very clear shift in how the club operates. You can see it in the recruitment style. Martin and sporting director Kevin Thelwell are targeting players who fit a specific profile: athletic, technically sound, and mentally tuned for high-tempo football. Gone are the days of over-relying on aging veterans with big reputations and little energy. Now it's all about players who are ready to prove themselves, contribute immediately, and grow with the club. That's why someone like Connor Coady, even at 32, still makes sense, because he brings a level of leadership and organization that supports those younger pieces around him. It's a calculated balance. Coady isn't a vanity signing. He's a foundational one. And when you look at the bigger picture, the transformation at Ibrox isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a wider shift in Scottish football where Rangers are refusing to be reactive. They're setting the tone. There's a growing sense that Martin and his team are playing the long game, thinking not just about the upcoming season, but to 3 years ahead. That's why you're seeing investments in versatile players who can be molded into different systems. JD Gassama, for instance, showed on his debut that he's not just flair. He's direct, fearless, and looks like someone who can thrive in the European nights. Under the lights of Ibrox, that kind of recruitment doesn't happen by chance. It's a sign of a club with a plan, but not every move pans out, and Martin knows that. That's why the coaching staff are being methodical about who they let go. Robin Pröpper's exit might not be headline material, but it's symbolic. He arrived with promise but never quite found his rhythm in Scotland. It happens. The important thing is how the club responds. Instead of holding onto a misfit and hoping things turn around, Rangers made the tough call and moved him on in doing. So they respected the player's need for a fresh start and more importantly made room for someone who might better fit the manager's vision. And let's be honest, the vision is ambitious. Martin wants his side to dominate in Scotland and compete with the very best on the continent. That's no small task. You can't go into a Champions League qualifier with holes in your squad and expect miracles. You need depth, quality, and above all a cohesive unit that knows its roles inside out. That's why the wide areas are such a concern right now. Raksaki might have been rejected by Palace, but Rangers won't stop there. There's too much riding on getting that right flank sorted. You can't push for trophies when your best right-wing option is a midfielder filling an out-of-position. Kieran Dawell did a job, but it's not a long-term solution. Martin knows that, and the recruitment team knows that. Now one name that started to create a bit of buzz is young Colombian wingers Car Cortez. After spending time on the sidelines, he's back in training and showing signs he could become a key figure. He's dynamic, comfortable on the ball, and has the kind of unpredictability that could give Rangers a serious weapon off the right. But counting on raw talent alone is risky, especially with the pressure of a title race in European competition. So while Cortez might get minutes, there's no doubt the club is still hunting for that marquee winger, signing someone with end product and experience to slot in from day one. Meanwhile, let's not forget the impact of the younger players who are quietly forcing their way into the conversation. Finlay Curtis, still just a teenager, has caught the eye in preseason. With a maturity beyond his years, his goal against Panathinaikos wasn't just well taken, it was the kind of finish that showed confidence, composure, and instinct. You don't get that from many young players on a stage like that. Martin isn't afraid to trust youth, but he's also careful not to overload them, so Curtis will continue to feature, but the expectation is that the club will surround him with experience and guidance. There's also an evolving situation in the striker department. Danilo has shown flashes of brilliance, but struggled with consistency and fitness. Cyril Dessers is capable of moments of magic, but hasn't yet convinced that he can lead the line week in, week out. And then there's Hamza Igamain, a player with huge potential but still adjusting to the demands of Scottish football. In a system like Martin's, where pressing, movement, and finishing all have to be sharp, you need your forwards firing on all cylinders. So it's no surprise that Rangers are monitoring that area closely as the window ticks on. One thing you can't ignore is the impact of Jack Butland. His early season form has been outstanding, and that save against Panathinaikos was a reminder of just how crucial he can be when he's locked in. There were questions about his consistency at the end of last season, but he's answered those critics in the best way possible, with performances that speak for themselves. If Rangers are going to make a deep run in Europe and challenge Celtic Toto domestically, they need Butland to stay at that level. He's a leader in the dressing room, and when he's in form, it gives the entire backline confidence. Another key figure in this rebuild has been Kevin Thelwell. Since stepping into the role of sporting director, he's moved quickly to back the manager's vision. His connections in English football have been crucial in securing deals for players like Max Aarons and Joe Rothwell, guys who have the talent and attitude to thrive in Glasgow. It's not just about names, it's about fit, and so far, the signings look like they're being made with a purpose, not just to fill shirts. What's become increasingly clear is that Rangers aren't just rebuilding, they're resetting. They're trying to create a squad that doesn't just win games, but represents the values of the club. Hard work, passion, discipline, intelligence, and most importantly, belief. You can see it in the body language of the players. There's a hunger again. Training sessions are sharper. The mood around the club is different. Even the fans can feel it. Something's shifting. But of course, this is Rangers. There's no such thing as patience. Every game is a must-win. Every result matters. Martin and his squad know they won't be judged in May. They're being judged now every 90 minutes. That's the pressure. But also the privilege of playing for a club of this size, and to their credit, they've embraced it. You only need to look at the response after full time against Panathinaikos. Players hugging, fans singing, the energy pulsing through Ibrox. It's not perfect yet. It's still a work in progress, but it's moving fast, and in this game, momentum is everything. If Rangers can string together a few more wins, get a couple more key signings through the door, particularly on that right flank and maybe another number 9, they'll be in a position to really push forward. The fixture list is about to get heavy with league games, Champions League qualifiers, and the pressure of expectation growing every day. But for the first time in a while, it feels like the foundations are being properly laid. The squad isn't just being filled, it's being built. The next few weeks will be crucial. Contracts will be signed. Players will move on. New heroes will arrive. And somewhere in the background, Russell Martin will keep shaping this group into his image. Demanding more, pushing harder, refusing to settle. Because that's what it takes to win in Glasgow. That's what it takes to be a Ranger. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Could a seismic shift be on the cards at Ibrox? That's the question on every Rangers fan's lips this week, as rumors ripple across Glasgow following James Tavernier's unexpected announcement of his departure from the Light Blues. The long-serving captain, a stalwart at right back and a talismanic presence in the dressing room, is reportedly set to call time on his storied tenure in Govan. While no official word has come from the club, sources close to the player suggest Tavernier has made it known behind the scenes that he's ready for a new challenge, and the speculation has caught fire. Supporters were left stunned, many barely believing the whispers. After all, Tavernier isn't just another player. He's been the heartbeat of the team since arriving in 2015, guiding Rangers through the highs and lows, and ultimately lifting the Premiership trophy in that historic unbeaten 2020-21 season. His influence both on and off the pitch has been immense, notching over 100 goals from defense and consistently delivering match-winning performances. But the winds of change seem to be blowing through Ibrox, with manager changes, squad reshuffles, and growing interest from abroad, particularly the Saudi Pro League. There's mounting belief that the Englishman could be tempted by one final big-money move before hanging up his boots. Some insiders whisper that clubs in the Gulf are circling, offering financial packages that the Scottish game simply can't match. The timing is unsettling. Rangers are still in the midst of rebuilding under Philippe Clement, and losing such a cornerstone figure could pose a major setback, while no replacement has been mooted just yet. The sense around Coady is that contingency plans are already being quietly explored. Whether Tavernier's departure is imminent or just another chapter in the rumor mill remains to be seen. But if the talk around Glasgow is to be believed, the captain's armband may soon be passed on, and a Rangers era could be drawing to a close. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.